Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Teachers in San Diego County's largest school district have called off a planned one-day strike. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Carroll in for Maya Trabulsi. An agreement was reached between San Diego Unified and its teachers union. KPBS education reporter Katie Anastas has the details.
Teachers had planned a strike on February 26th. They said the special education program was understaffed, and that understaffing left students without enough support. But yesterday, the teachers union and the district reached an agreement. Richard Barrera is president of the district's board.
What we've been able to do in this agreement is provide more support for those educators, including more time to spend with families, to spend on the individual issues facing, each student. More compensation for educators that work with students with special needs.
He says that includes more money for teachers whose caseloads are over the agreed-upon limit.
And that's fair to our teachers, to our ed specialists, but it also, creates an incentive for the district to work hard at recruiting special education teachers.
The union's contract sets limits on the number of students assigned to each special education teacher. The district pays stipends to teachers if they're over those limits. But the union says teachers would sometimes wait months or years for those stipends. The union says the new agreement makes them automatic and monthly.
This was a huge victory for them to be able to have these improvements in place at schools throughout the district.
The union also reached a tentative agreement with the district on a new 3-year contract. The agreement promises no teacher layoffs during the contract period. It also includes a 5% wage increase once the state provides funding for it. Earlier this week, district leaders went to Sacramento to advocate for that funding.
We got to this agreement because of tremendous organizing work by the educators, and it's that educator voice and that power of the educator voice that's going to be the most important asset that we have in advocating to the state legislature and governor to release that money and just to do better overall.
Next, the union and school board will vote to ratify the new contract. Katie Anastas, KPBS News.
Well, it's going to be a little quieter out there tonight and into the beginning of the weekend before things really ramp up here on us into Monday and off and on next week with rain, mountain snow returning. Tonight we'll get down to 50 in San Diego. Some coastal clouds will be out there. But looking ahead from Sunday into Wednesday, we're looking at soaking rain and some of this is going to come down heavily. We'll also see snow return to the high ground out there in places not far from Big Bear. We'll take a look ahead in just a little bit.
San Diego County's population of adults 60 and older is projected to top 824,000 by 2029. Now, county officials have launched a new aging dashboard to track housing, health, and affordability trends affecting seniors. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco explains how it could shape local planning.
It's wonderful that we're living so long, but with that comes some challenges and some goals that we have to work on.
Allison Boyer is San Diego County's Director of Aging and Independent Services.
Our programs locally and at the state and federal level are going to need to grow to accommodate higher needs, higher caseloads, and just our older adult population as a whole.
The dashboard pulls together dozens of indicators from rent costs to hospitalization rates to show where needs are rising and where support systems may need to expand. It includes data from more than 30 sources, including federal census data, regional planning agencies, and state health surveys. Boyer says it's modeled after California's Master Plan for Aging, aligning with goals around inclusion, equity, housing, caregiving, and affordability.
There's always that worry, again, that there's the growing population and there's not enough resources in the community. And I think this dashboard really helps us see the bigger picture.
She says housing stands out as one of the most urgent concerns, especially with most seniors living on fixed incomes and housing prices continuing to rise.
Based on this data from this dashboard, a little over a quarter of our older adult households are renters and the remaining are homeowners. About half of whom still have a mortgage.
But the dashboard isn't just about identifying problems. Boyer says it helps the county and community partners focus funding where needs are highest.
They heavily rely on various funding sources as well to operate and to serve our older adult and disabled population. So this data can help them with seeking grant funding.
She says that by making data more transparent and easier to explore, the dashboard can also help families find answers about their own neighborhoods.
The goal and the hope is really that it tells the story of the needs within San Diego County, those priority areas, the work that we need to continue to do, and then the areas that maybe we need to focus more on.
The dashboard is publicly available on the county's community health statistics site. Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
The San Diego region gets about 60% of its water supply from the Colorado River. California and 6 other states face a federal deadline tomorrow to come up with an agreement on how to use the river's dwindling water supply. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer tells us how any agreement could impact San Diego and Imperial counties.
The Colorado River provides drinking water for roughly 40 million people across 7 states and Mexico. But the Center for Colorado River Studies says the river's flow is slowing, and major reservoirs along its path, Lake Powell and Lake Mead, are exceptionally low. The center's director, Jack Schmidt, says it's because of a warming climate and overuse.
We're going to have an immediate crisis this spring and summer, because we're going to get very little boost into the reservoir storage, into the income of the bank account.
Schmidt says the reduced supply means cuts are needed, but so far the 7 states using the river's water haven't been able to agree on what those cuts should look like. The federal government set a February 14th deadline for them to strike a deal.
Inability of the states to view that they're all in this together and all agree to take some cuts and all agree to work for the common good of the nation is very disturbing.
The Imperial Irrigation District is the single largest user of Colorado River water. They also hold some of the most senior water rights to the river, making their supply more secure. San Diego gets some of that water. In 2003, the County Water Authority made a deal with the IDD to buy water saved through conservation efforts at Imperial County Farms. The Water Authority was not available for comment. IDD declined an interview, but last month it released a statement saying in part that it's played a leading role in stabilizing the river through conservation. The district also says over 22 years, its voluntary programs have conserved more than twice what's allocated to California every year. The federal government can step in at any time to implement its own conservation plan for the Colorado River. The current water rights agreements expire at the end of 2026. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
A shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security is all but certain this weekend after lawmakers left town for a planned recess with no funding deal in place. Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at the standoff and what that shutdown would mean.
With Congress still at an impasse.
Are we really willing to put everybody into a partial government shutdown over a situation where the agency already has the money?
Democrats will not support a blank check for chaos.
The Department of Homeland Security is headed toward a shutdown this weekend.
Every other portion of the federal government has been funded except Homeland Security.
In exchange for supporting funding for other departments through September 30th, Democrats demanded more time to negotiate reforms to immigration enforcement operations after the shooting deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good by federal immigration agents in Minneapolis last month.
Funding for ICE and the Department of Homeland Security should not move forward in the absence of dramatic changes that are bold, meaningful, and transformational.
Among Democrats' demands, tighter parameters around search and arrest warrants and requiring immigration and customs enforcement agents to wear body cameras and remove masks. Republicans have said no to nearly all of those ideas and noted last summer's so-called Big Beautiful Bill gave DHS about $165 billion in funding.
The ICE funding is already done for the entirety of the Trump administration, so they're not affecting that in any way.
In addition to immigration agencies, DHS also includes agencies like the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Coast Guard. Most of the department's personnel are considered essential, meaning they'd stay on the job but without pay until a funding agreement is reached. In Washington, Karen Kafa, KPBS News.
A huge sigh of relief for a California family. Narciso Barranco, the father of 3 U.S. Marines, just had his deportation dismissed by a judge. Lori Perez reports this is the mercy the Barranco family was hoping for and what they and their supporters say he deserves.
Mr. Barranco has had 0 criminal history. He's been a tax-paying, resident of this country.
Attorney Lisa Ramirez says when Narciso Barranco and his family heard a judge end his deportation case,
they were very happy, relieved, I would say is probably the best word.
Relieved, she says, after almost 8 months of stunned desperation. This is the graphic witness video of federal agents grabbing the 48-year-old landscaper while he was working in Santa Ana back in June. As he appears wailing and already on the ground, 2, 3, then 4 men restrained and punched him. The video went viral and sparked national outrage, especially as the public learned Barranco, though undocumented, is the father of 3 U.S. Marines. He was held in an ICE processing center for more than 3 weeks before he was fitted with an ankle bracelet and released on bond. Ariana Barrios is a City of Orange council member who knows the family.
He had given our country this amazing gift, and yet this is how we treated him.
Even tonight, the feds continue to defend what some say was an overly aggressive takedown, insisting Barranco swung a weed whacker at agents and tried to run. In a statement today, Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said in part, "We will appeal this lawless ruling. This activist judge's ruling does not change the facts that Narciso Barranco is an illegal alien. Maybe not for long. Barranco is in the process of applying for parole in place, a program that protects undocumented parents of military members from deportation as they seek legal status. The question is if he'll get approved before the feds appeal. The start of another anxious waiting game."
Anything is possible, right? So we have many members of Congress, both in the Senate and the House, that are, very interested in this case. And so we are requesting expedited processing.
El Cajon City Council member Gary Kendrick was the longest-serving Republican in local municipal politics, but this week he announced he's leaving the party and running as a Democrat in the November election. KPBS reporter Elaine Alfaro spoke with Kendrick about the reasons behind his decision.
Kendrick registered as a Republican for 50 years, and he served in public office for more than 2 decades. But he says seeing Republican rhetoric shift, especially regarding immigration enforcement, has changed things for him.
Well, the Republicans years ago were always saying, we need to make the tent bigger, bring more people in. They've done exactly the opposite. If you don't look like them, they don't treat you very well.
Kendrick has seen this play out in El Cajon firsthand. The Conservative Council majority passed a resolution last year declaring it is not a sanctuary city. This despite California being a sanctuary state and San Diego being a sanctuary county.
And we had a lot of people show up, people crying in the audience. Kids are afraid to go to school because they're afraid their parents won't be there when they get back. Pregnant women are afraid to go to the doctor because they're afraid they might get arrested. This should not be happening in America.
He hopes his change of heart serves as a message for other Republicans who are questioning the party's actions.
I tell him you have to be true to yourself. You took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of California. And you just can't look the other direction while bad things are going on.
Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.
Carlsbad-based Aptera Motors is ready to bring its solar-powered cars into mass production. As KPBS North County reporter Alexander Nguyen shows us, you could commute from home to work and back without recharging the car.
Workers are sanding, polishing, and putting the finishing touches on these production vehicles.
And they're really meant to prove out our assembly line and prove out the initial design of the vehicle.
If the cars look like something out of the Jetsons, Aptera Motors CEO Chris Anthony says there's a reason for it.
So you see our vehicle, it looks much more like a fish than a box. And that's because our first principle is make it super aerodynamic, make it lightweight. And when you do that, you get something with really great efficiency.
It's meant to glide through the air like a fish through water. Aptera was started 7 years ago with a simple concept.
How do you eke the most energy per mile out of a vehicle? How would you get 100 miles per gallon or 200 miles per gallon?
Anthony says the Aptera gets the equivalent of 350 miles per gallon. It's been through trial and error and several design iterations, and now it's ready for mass production.
We have almost 50,000 orders for the Aptera, so we're working to get the vehicle in production by the end of this year and deliver as many of those orders as we can, as quickly as we can.
Before they can, these futuristic-looking cars will be put to the test. Literally.
It'll go through crash testing and durability.
As a three-wheel, two-seater car, the Aptera is not meant to be a family car. The target demographic is someone who is an active professional.
So you can put a couple mountain bikes back there, surfboards. You can actually camp in the back of the Aptera. So it's a really usable shape for everyday driving, but it should feel like your normal EV when you get inside.
The car gets up to 400 miles per charge. And with a solar panel roof and dashboard, Anthony says you may never need to charge it for everyday city driving.
Every time it's out in the sun, catches those photons, turns them into electrons, and charges your high voltage battery pack so you can drive anytime it's out in the sun.
At $40,000 each, the Aptera is comparable to an entry-level Tesla, but with one big advantage.
It's technically classified as a motorcycle in California, which is great because we'll be the only electric vehicle that gets free HOV access. So you can drive in the high occupancy vehicle lane, and you get to pay motorcycle insurance instead of car insurance, which is significantly cheaper.
The company is also working on a cheaper model with a shorter range that is expected to come out next year. In Carlsbad, Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
That's really cool. Here's your reminder to stay out of the doghouse. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. Candy remains the most popular gift, but this holiday, doctors are hoping you also give your health a present. Mandy Gaither explains.
It's a holiday filled with hearts, so what better time to show this vital fist-sized organ some extra love?
Heart disease remains the #1 killer of Americans.
Dr. Ashish Shiraju with Cleveland Clinic says the U.S. has come a long way in lowering the number of deaths due to cardiovascular disease, but the latest data from the American Heart Association shows nearly 916,000 Americans died from it in 2023, and the organization says up to 80% of heart disease is preventable.
There needs to be a continued focus on preventing risk factors for heart disease and preventing adverse outcomes if you do already have heart disease.
Siraju says a majority of patients are unaware they have one or more risk factors for heart disease. Those include being a smoker, obesity, diabetes, living a sedentary life, or having high blood pressure and high cholesterol. You won't know those levels if you're not getting routinely checked.
These risk factors tend to be silent for the vast majority of the time.
Siraju says the first way to love your heart is knowing what factors increase risk of disease and which ones impact you. Then he says get control of those risk factors, eat a healthy diet, exercise, reduce stress, improve sleep quality and quantity, get routine checkups on blood glucose levels, cholesterol, and blood pressure, and know your family medical history.
I think it's a great time of the year to sit back and take stock and then understand your own heart a little better.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
We have a lot to talk about. This new work week is going to be very active. The weekend gives us a little bit of a breather to prepare for what will be a very wet time. So it's a quiet weekend, but the headlines really kick in on Monday. A very active week. Soaking rain arrives on Monday. Snow levels will be dropping down to near or below 5,000 feet. So some of the high ground not far from San Diego. We'll see some snow as well. And we're going to get down to 50 tonight. Mainly clear skies this Friday night, Saturday morning. Saturday, quiet day. This will be the quietest day among the next 5 to 7 days, most likely, with pleasant weather. And again, most of Sunday also looks okay here, but Saturday is our day to get out there and enjoy it before the clouds thicken up. There will be some cloud cover near the coast, brighter inland. We're looking good, though. 75 in Borrego Springs, 72 El Cajon, 67 into San Diego, and up in the mountains there, Mount Laguna, 47 degrees. Sunday, the rain gets closer. We're still mainly dry for the bulk of Sunday. The widespread soaking rain takes over there farther to our north, but it certainly rolls in on Monday. A high confidence wet forecast on Monday. Drenching rain returns to the region. Snow's going to be really heavy up there into the Sierra. They're looking at feet of snow setting in. Let's take a look at future satellite and radar. So there's Sunday. And then by Monday morning, it begins to roll in. Monday afternoon, pressing pause at 3 p.m. Just soaking rain across the region. It'll be wet virtually all day Monday. Rounds of showers Tuesday. Here's Tuesday evening. A new wave of this. May not be as focused as Monday. Monday's probably wetter than Tuesday in terms of what ends up in the rain gauge. But both days, it's going to be wet. Wednesday still wet. Thursday, a little bit of a break in the action as the flow kind of shifts in from the north-northwest and the main thrust of moisture slides east. So multiple storms Sunday to our north, but for us locally, Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday, waves of rain, mountain snow, several feet into the Sierra, and several inches into areas around the high ground of San Bernardino County and parts of Los Angeles County to our north as well for snow in the mountains. But here we are at the coast. Mostly sunny Saturday, mostly cloudy Sunday. The clouds thicken. Here comes the rain Monday, Tuesday, and still Wednesday. A couple of showers will be out there. The wettest time will probably be Monday. That looks like the main thrust of the heaviest rain. Inland areas. Mostly sunny Saturday, clouds thicken Sunday, soaking rain Monday, rain off and on Tuesday, some showers linger into Wednesday. Similar theme. Let's go a little bit farther east and up into the mountains here. Here you're going to see some snowflakes, especially late Monday, rain and snow mixed Tuesday, still cloudy Wednesday, and I'd count on a couple of flakes around, but it's going to be active out there. And into the deserts here, we also get down into the rain beginning Monday, rain Tuesday, some showers lingering on Wednesday as well. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
KPBS cinema junkie Beth Accomando hates rom-coms, Valentine's Day, and Galentine's Day. But when Galentine's Day and Friday the 13th overlapped, she had to invite her final girl besties over to celebrate with some unconventional movie picks.
I'm going to show you how to host the best Galentines for you and your final girls. Starting with how I set up the table, so it feels intentional without being complicated. I like to begin with the table runner because it instantly anchors the whole crime scene. For each place setting, I added a final girl trophy from the night's kill. This is a fun way to make it feel festive and playful while making everyone feel thought of and welcomed. And I'm ready. Hey, welcome to Galentine's night and Friday the 13th.
Leatherface is toxic. Sorry I'm late, but I saw another one on the way and I just couldn't resist. What a nightmare of a day. Sweet dreams, Freddy. Going camping was a terrible idea.
What did you cut off with that, Sarah?
You won't miss it. I need to sharpen this. Anyone have a sharpener?
Man, Michael Myers just keeps coming back. It's so annoying.
Right, but that arterial splatter.
That's pretty.
Sandra Lee would be so proud of us.
All right, so ladies, I think we need to watch a movie. What should we watch?
Well, since it's Friday the 13th and it's Galentine's Day, it's fitting to pick a Friday the 13th. Part 7 is my favorite. I love Tina, how she one-ups Jason. I love Jason, and I love how he looks in this movie too, but Tina is like amazing. She's like Carrie vibes. She has the telekinesis and all that stuff. So I really love that film.
My final girl is Alien, especially Ripley, Ellen Ripley. She's my hero.
I love the Scream franchise. I love that it's so unexpected. I love that it's always got so much humor, and that even as they're chasing everybody to their death, they still have something sassy to say.
Oh, my favorite final girl film would be Evil Dead 2013 because Mia is fantastic. That girl goes through literal hell and comes out the other side. Ooh, To Kill the Romance, for sure. Paranormal Activity, the first one. Micah is the worst boyfriend ever. He doesn't listen to his girlfriend. He is the absolute worst, and he has it all on film. We can see his awfulness forever. Yeah.
I'll pick a current one, Companion. I'm anti-AI and androids, but it's a female android, so it's empowerment, feminist empowerment there. So I go for her because it's like a good revenge one.
My anti-Valentine's would be Midsommar. You know, it's a breakup movie, first of all, and it's very creative. It's not every day that you put your boyfriend in a bear suit and burn him up, but props to that.
Oh, Fright Night. I think anytime that you can, like, empathize with the villain and kind of want to go with him to wherever he's taking people to do his nefarious bidding, I think that's a great helping you feel better after a long, hard day of not wanting your romance.
Here are to the final girls.
Oh, Beth. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm John Carroll. Have an excellent evening and a wonderful weekend.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.